Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn. And right now I'm at my borrow pit / future pole barn site / staging area for pretty blue rock. So in this video we're going to be working on the north end hill of my low road. We did the south end hill I think it was last video, or at least a recent video, and improve that with some of that same pretty blue rock and some of this fill material. So now same sort of thing for the north side slope, which doesn't involve a cross drainage like we did on the southern end, but really just to improve the slope and to minimize erosion. But before we start doing that, just a quick update here on the borrow pit and what I've decided here with the pole barn. I've moved my flags, I think, yet again since the last time we met. So this potential site here is still awaiting approval from the missus. It's sort of in the public comment, period sort of thing for any proposal, But right now I have pink ribbon here, pink ribbon there. That other pink ribbon is actually a stake for my level, because what I'm doing here, this level here, is about the same as that white flag there, which is the low point. So I'm gonna level everything to that same level here. That'll make this on three sides it'll easily slope away with the existing slope of the field. On the upper side, and where that long sod pile is, will be the driveway, the access. I'll have to dig that down a little bit. Sort of at the steepest part is going to be about a 4-foot drop between the existing elevation and the level of the pole barn. So, but with about 75 feet or so from the edge of the field there, where the trees are, to the edge of the pole barn, that should be plenty of room to come down at a decent slope and then have, an access driveway that's level or slightly below the level of the pole barn. The opening's going to face that way. But we're here to improve a woods road. So I'll load this up. The trailer holds about 5 yards each. I anticipate I'll start off with 2 loads for the hill and then just sort of evaluate and go from there. This is a map of my woods roads. So to get an orientation of things, the borrow pit is in this field. It's about right here. This field down here is basically right here, is that area that I spread topsoil a couple of videos ago, and this is where we'll end the video, is right out here. The previous video I started working on this low road, which is this one right here, fixing this hill, which is right along there. The entrance to this, basically from this field here, we put in several loads to smooth it out, to make backing up the trailer easier, as well as fill in some divots and again sort of generally raise the road. So we're going to start out this project over here. This would be the north side hill right here, and then this section of relatively flat and low area right here. So I'll fill up the trailer here, I'll drive here, and then depending on what I can do, I'll either turn around or back in, or just continue on, make a big loop. So dump my material here along this road, and then with an empty trailer just continue out here. And I have a rather established road which doesn't show up on this older map, which basically goes right here, through this field and through this field and right back to the borrow pit. So it's just a big circle. So this is what the south end hill looks like, sort of walking down. I'll get for 2 loads, because I'm going to come from the top here and push it down with the bulldozer. The road really doesn't get nasty as far as runoff and deep ruts until right about here. So probably the second load I'll plan for about where that rock is. Easier to push it downhill than to push it uphill or drag it back. The first load that I have on there now, probably here somewhere. So what I don't know, and I'll just have to play it by ear, see how things look, is down here. It does get a little bit muddy, but same thing I did with the other hill. This came off and was a steep drop, so I sort of shaved that corner off on the top. And that's why this is washing out, because that's just sort of loose topsoil. And it never really compacted. It compacted fairly well, but it's sort of a riverbed here that I made. Although there's not a lot of runoff, there's enough to though make the ruts, sort of wash the fines out, expose the rocks. But I think you can see, there's some thickness there. You can probably see 8 or 10 inches. The material that I've used to sort of soften this hill to sort of make it more of a gradual slope, then steep and then flat, which is what it was. So what I don't know is down here, a couple things. One is I want to do the same sort of things, continue to make this slope a bit more gentle. So I need some fill material here, and as you go around the corner to the right, it sort of leans that way, which is sort of just the opposite. Good for runoff, but I'd like it a bit level. So my question is, the rock is expensive. It's $15 a ton. So it's about $75 for each trailer load that I bring down here. I'm hoping I can get by with 2 trailer loads of that, and then maybe just use the fill dirt down here. Is probably what I'll do. Because really, the area is not too bad. If I can just keep the level of the road sort of higher, so that it's not constantly sort of at the water table, and down here it's the low road because this is very low. Basically, from here over there to the other end, which would be the south end hill that we worked on last time, is all sort of very flat. It's right next to a brook that runs over there, and it is very wet. This is really the first winter since I made this road that the first summer that since I've made this road it's been dry enough really to do any significant work here as far as improve it and bring in fill. All right, so I think I'll use this ash tree and that blue ribbon. The ribbon was just used when I laid out the road. I just never took it off. As sort of the stopping point, and I'll dump that load here. It'll fall down here, and then the first load up where that rock is. So this road right now is a pretty straight shot going out to the field where the tractor is headed. But there were a couple trees here. I think one was right here that I took out. Stump is there. And I must have taken something out here. Maybe it was this rock. I don't know. It might have been right there. Anyhow, this is a real soft spot. Obviously, I made it worse driving over it twice with the weight. So between those two areas, this area is really not that bad. Other than those isolated spots, this section of the road is fine. But I might as well cover that up. So I'll just use some fill there to do that. So when I come in with the dozer, I'll spread that out before I hit the rock. Well, that wasn't the best thing ever. So that this hole here that I can't remember why the hole was there. My back tire was on the edge of it, slipped in, evidently. And I just spun. So that's why I have two big piles there. And I wanted a lot of the material over there. So I'll probably just back drag it, bring the dozer in, back drag it, and then push the rest of this. Well, that was a bit of a challenge. I've never really worked on that much of a slope, having to use the hand throttle and both feet on the brakes, the steering brakes, clutch brakes. Normally I just use my left foot on both brakes and my right foot on the D accelerator, but since I could go downhill without any acceleration, without any engine power, I needed both feet on the brakes, so that was a bit of a learning curve for me. Anyhow, so I guess the end result is okay. I did not anticipate I'd lose so much over the edge there, but I'll take it. So yeah, I think for down here, basically starting sort of where the rock ends right here at this tree, I'll sort of build this up with just regular fill material. Same thing I did there, take a slope that was like that and make it a little bit more level. It still slopes to the right as we look at it, but not nearly as much as it did. The ruts are filled in. I'm hoping that provides me the traction I need. Well, you might have been able to make out as I was spreading it, but a little bit of a dip there, particularly because I'm building up the corner here as you come around, so it doesn't lean off so much that way, but more level. And the other thing, I don't want to have a drop off, so I'm going to have a little bit of an angle here. One, so the road doesn't sort of erode and push this way, and the other is, well, two things. One is I may back up here to drag a log out somewhere, and I don't want to have a big drop off if I don't need to, or if for some reason I drive off the road, I don't want to have a sudden drop off either. So I think basically between this tree and that little fir tree there, I'll put another load and spread it, be able to soften this bank a little bit, as well as take care of this dip and make it more of a straight line from the end of the rock to right here. Well, I'm very happy with how that turned out. So this is what I meant by sort of a soft edge. I just sort of packed it down and made the angle a bit less steep between the road surface and sort of the original ground. Kind of looks funny, looks like a mess, but it should work. That's all I care about, and should be a whole lot better. You know, in the low spots, I've probably lifted it up between 1 and 2 feet, maybe even more, like right there. All right, nice gradual turn, nice gradual slope. So now, instead of backing down, my plan will be to drive in, and I gotta find the next spot, for a couple reasons, and I'll explain that as we go. So I'm just gonna walk along the road here and look for spots like this, which isn't too bad. But in and of itself, this is not too bad, but also we have quite a dip there. And some muddy spots here. So on a spot like this, what I'm thinking is really just fill in the ruts. Maybe raise the road up a bit, you know, fill in that area there that's a bit rough to ride on. And then here, two things. One is a little bit of a rut, but really it's the slope. So in the wintertime, depending on the road conditions or now, but I don't really come down here in the mud for obvious reasons. But with a slope this way, you know, particularly if I have a trailer behind me, or I'm hauling a twitch, sometimes it's hard to make a turn sort of uphill if you're sloping that way. That's been my experience. So in this section between here and sort of the cedar tree next to the little fir tree there, it sort of slopes that way. So here I'll probably use 1 or 2 loads to bring it up to level and sort of make the road itself level, because it dips this way and it dips that way. Not as bad here. So what I'll do then is tailgate spread like you saw me do there. What that allows me to do is ride over it and make another delivery as long as the pile's not too deep. So I can put a load there, drive over that, put another load here, drive over that potentially, and just keep doing that. So I'm not having to take the dozer out every load that I dump. Driving down, it'll be easier. I'm not sure it'll be quicker, because if I drive through, I got to go all the way to the end, to the other slope, which is the south slope that we did a video ago, and then back, but I don't have to back down. My only concern here, which is why I wanted to get this the way it is before I drove down, is the trailer. It's about 14,000 pounds, and I mean that's what the rating is. I'm guessing I overload it because sometimes I don't have enough lift capacity to lift it up unless I put myself on an incline. So let's say it's 16,000 pounds. My tractor is only about 8,000, or even less than that. I have all 4 wheels loaded. Try to give it as much stability and traction as I can. But if you have a fully loaded trailer going down a hill and making a turn, sometimes the trailer wants to go straight. And if it's too severe conditions, then it can actually take your tractor and sort of push the rear end in the direction that you don't want it to go and potentially flip it over. So between the rocks, a little bit less of a slope down at the bottom where it does turn, I should be okay. A couple times even backing down here, I lost traction. I could step on the brakes and all it would do is lock 4 wheels up and they just slide down the hill. So with the trailer, this trailer has worked out really well. Particularly, I like that the wheels are outside the body rather than having the body over the wheels. One is for visibility, so when I'm backing up, it's so much easier to see where the wheels are going without having a bed sort of over top of it. And, maneuvering in the woods, it's just much easier. I'm sure I'd be hitting things a lot more often if the body was out here instead of just the wheels. And it's very stable. The center of gravity is very much in the center. There's not much in the way outside, so I can be on quite a tilt and still be relatively stable and not worry too much about it tipping over. One modification I made, I was struggling with these grab hooks because sometimes when I tip it up, the chain would fall off. And the other thing is I had it hooked down there, and sometimes it get caught on the edge, and one side would be real short and the other side would... That's how I bent this tailgate right now. It's a little bit bent. You can see here this side is flush. And this side is off by about 2 inches. But when I latch the tailgate, that sucks it in pretty easily. So 2 things. One is I moved this point up here. The tailgate that you just saw was the first time I'd used it after putting this on. And I bought these, which I think are less likely to slip off, and I put them at an angle. So when I'm dumping, this will be more or less upright. Where this one, I think it would slip out that way because it'd be, the angle would be like that. You might have noticed I have new sideboards and a new headboard. I had to do that this week. The other ones were just getting too rotten. I hit one of them, split it in half, and it wasn't worth repairing. I think I've had this trailer, I looked at my records, I couldn't find purchase papers, but it's at least 10 years. And I put the original wooden sideboards on almost immediately. So those lasted 10 years, granted with some repairs now and then. But this is the first time I've actually replaced them all. They're 2x10s. Works really well, and I couldn't be happier with this trailer. The only thing that the only negative things that the thing I don't like about it is I wish it would dump a bit taller. So if I'm at an incline, you know, downward, and I want to flip it up, you know, dump it, sometimes it won't fall out. The white plastic that I put in, I showed doing that a couple videos ago, that has made a huge difference. But I really haven't given it a full test because so far all I've hauled with it is really dry material, which probably would have come out okay without the plastic. So the real test will be when I have some muddy, heavy clay. Is that going to slide out or not? So the other advantage to driving in, I'm not going to always have this ballast in the front, although I think this was critical for me going up and down that hill. It gave the front tires a lot more traction to go and to stop. Without this, I'm not sure that I would have been successful doing what we just did, or it would have been a lot more challenging. So these are just rocks that I pick out from the borrow pit, where I'm getting the dirt from, what I call handleable ones that I can lift without a whole lot of problem. And there's plenty of those. And what I'll do with those when I drive in is if there's big ruts, I'll just throw those in the ruts, sort of cover that up, and that also helps with drainage. So if there is some water that wants to flow, you know, it can easily flow through those rocks. So I was able to find a spot to turn around, so I don't have to make the big loop, which will save me a lot of time. And I was able to spread that out a fair amount, so when I come back I'll spread it out a bit more, but it should be easy to track over with another trailer load. Rocks seem to work well. It's not like they sunk anymore, just rode on top of them, so guessing the ledge or at least hard soil is pretty shallow here.
So this really is the issue. The tire's just sort of in the mud there. It doesn't look that deep, but I don't have much traction. It's just like grease. It's slipping on either roots or stones or bedrock or something. So I'm not going to be able to tailgate this. I'll hopefully just be able to, lucky to dump it and get this trailer out. Because the issue I have, and I'm glad I have that ballast in the front, that rock, because as I dump this, the tongue weight goes away. It actually sort of lifts the back of the tractor up a little bit. So I'm really relying on those front tires for traction. Even though the trailer is lighter, it's reducing the traction on the tractor because I don't have as much weight on the rear wheels. So yeah, it's always a little dicey when this happens. Well, you saw the turnaround spot, and it was places like this that I've been putting the rock in that I bring in the bucket. So this is 2 bucket loads of that pretty blue rock. So there's a bunch of rock in there. There's a big rock there. So this is really rocky. I'm pretty sure this is one of the areas where water flows across. Most of it actually is underneath. I've not been aware of any instance, even in hard rains, where I've seen a lot of surface water run across here. But all along this sort of bank, if you walk here at any time other than now when it's sort of a little mini drought, you hear water running and you look around and down. There's no water anywhere. It's all running underneath through the rocks. Occasionally you can see a gap through the rocks and see water running. So I'm thinking most of this water is running off here, which is why I'm pretty confident that most of what I do here, I'm not going to have to worry about pipes or culverts or anything like that. But when I put this this sort of layer of fill in, if I do run across some areas, then I can always just dig that section up and put a pipe across. So I'll probably put at least one more bucket load of pretty blue rock here to sort of make it level with the rest of the ground. And this immediate area, I don't think I need any additional fill. So as long as I can make this, pretty level with just the rocks, I'll leave the rocks exposed rather than cover them. But boy, before I put that on, you really felt it when the tire, particularly over there where those natural rocks are, you feel the front tire go in there pretty abruptly. This is my turnaround spot. I'm glad I have 4-wheel drive tractor and nice big flotation tires, because this is obviously not very kind ground to any regular trailer. So that's really the process. In fact, looking here, it looks pretty good. I think I have another one of those sort of rock crossings where a little bit of a gully is down there further. But for now, you've seen the process. We'll meet up again when I have something new, different, or exciting to share. Well, I am in a very similar predicament as to the last time, but this time I can't get out. So I dumped a fair amount out with the dump body up, the dump body down. It doesn't make a difference. I'm just stuck there with very little traction, and I still have another bucket full of stone, so I basically weighted down as much as I can. So I was sort of hoping to wait to get the bulldozer out until I had all the material down that I was going to do, just because this is sort of overkill and don't really like to start the dozer up just for 20 minutes of work and then shut it down again, but so be it. So since I have to push myself out there, I might as well level things out as best I can. I think I'm going to put another load right here. It's a bit low and squishy. The rest of it's not bad. It's squishy, and like I've said before, over time this will set up, and I think we'll be fine. It'll be relatively firm, hard, easily to track over without sinking in like we are now. So I did put one more load of pretty blue rock here, and that's good. This is my turnaround spot. This is a bit muddy, but I think it's just for me churning up the soil with the tires. I don't think I really need anything there. Same thing here. Looks pretty firm. So the next spot for that crushed rock is going to be way down here, and it's going to take several bucketfuls. In fact, I had thought maybe of bringing a trailer load or a partial trailer load down, but as long as I'm bringing regular fill material, I might as well just bring it at a bucket at a time. So it's right here. When I put this road in, I did that with the excavator, and I did move several rocks that were around here, sort of here, because this was quite a deep ravine. And it's still a little low, but only really because this clump of red spruce here and this red spruce here and their root swells have, you can see here, have damaged some roots. And then it drops off again here. So on that side, I do want to fill in that with rocks, because I'm pretty sure that's a drainage. And on this side of those trees, it's just some fill. It's still going to be a little bit of a hump, but right now it's a pretty significant hump. And again, you sort of feel it when your wheels hit that little dip. I'm thinking probably 2 or 3 more bucket loads should sort of level this off nicely. I think I'm more than halfway through this low road, so instead of backing up, I can't recall. I don't think there's any good places to turn around up there, so I'm just going to go out the other end, which would be the south end hill that we worked on a video ago, and just circle back that way. So again, we'll meet up when there's something fun and exciting, or I do something stupid. So this is the hill on the south end side, and the corner and the big rock. So basically this is where we'll end as far as needing to put material down. Well, we have just a handful of loads, a little touch-up work to do, and then we'll call it good. So again, unless I run into something exciting, then we'll just sort of wrap up with a walk through the road from one end to the other. And that'll be a big accomplishment for me. I've been looking forward to doing this for years. So we'll do a time-lapse walk through what we did. We'll start at the north side hill that we started at the beginning of this video and end basically the other field, which is the south side hill that was done in the previous video. So that was about a 6-minute walk, a normal walking speed. This is the area that I spread the topsoil a couple videos ago. So, like I said, really glad to get that done. Only took 2 videos to do it. Many years of thinking about it. I appreciate you hanging along with this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you stay tuned for other videos. Thank you.